Our update, what was teased last week, has been confirmed to be a new seasonal, which is going to be arriving tomorrow in our little teaser that we've got today. We see all the seasonals bobbing up and down, having a good time, but then a storm cuts through and turns off the lights. And to the right, we see a brand new monster. It looks very goofy and angry looking, and I am so phenomenally excited to see what this seasonal is going to look like. What event is this seasonal for, though? That's definitely something that we've got to go into. Now, with the storm being in the background, I feel like this is naturally going to be a Wublin Island themed event seasonal. I don't think anyone could have guessed this. Wublin Island getting a seasonal? Like, what? That is insane. I would have never predicted getting that at all. I wouldn't have expected it even ever come into the game. So the fact that we're getting a Wublin Island themed seasonal is going to be really exciting tomorrow. It's going to be an MSM themed holiday, I would presume, just like to anniversary month, and how that isn't really corresponding towards a real life event. I do think that this one is going to be tied to just an MSM based event, which is going to be really exciting to see how they can use that towards their advantage and potentially come up with something really unique for this one. If we go in game, it says an intense ocean storm has cut all power on seasonal Shanty. Okay, nobody move while Jamboree looks for the backup generator. Of course Jamboree's the one to do it. But anyway, going back onto the point here, it says an intense ocean storm, and the storm is what surrounds Wublin Island and is basically a huge storm encapsulating all of the island and keeping it very isolated inside of the monster world. So I do expect that this event is going to be tied to the storm itself and perhaps reveal some interesting lore behind it, which is going to be very exciting. It's going to have a long event name to this one with what we went over inside of our last video. Apparently it's going to be quite the tongue twister, this one, so I'm really intrigued now that we know this aspect behind the storm as towards why that could be. I feel like it could be an association of Wubox creating the Wublins, the creation of the Wubox, something completely new entirely. But I think the relation to the storm is the most likeliest part, especially with all the references to the storm inside of the teaser. It's pretty obvious. I do think that this storm is going to take a huge part inside of this event. I think there's lots of things that we could find out regarding the storm. It's a very unexplained topic inside of the game. It doesn't really detail it that much. It just mentions it inside of the Wublin Island bio, so there is quite a lot to go into here. As for what they could answer then, I think they could easily answer why the storm surrounds Wublin Island in the first place. Go into that. We could ask why the Wublins were put in the storm in the first place, and we could even go into what causes the storm. So there's quite a lot of questions regarding the storm that this new seasonal could delve into. For what it could look like, though, I'm going back to these eyes here, and I'm getting a very goofy themed look. I'm seeing purples, oranges, some kind of crazy look that we're not probably going to ever be able to predict for this one, I do think. It's definitely going to be Wublin Island themed, though. I do think it's going to have that Frankenstein-y vibe to it, like all the Wublins do, which is going to be really exciting to get that kind of design back in the game once more. I'm very excited for that moment, as Wublins are one of the best species inside of the game, so advancing on it even further with this seasonal is going to be really epic to see what they can do with it. Hopefully it turns out really cool, its design. I think it's going to be naturally going to Wublin Island to this seasonal. As I went over inside at the beginning, it's a really big shocker that it is going to be coming in the first place. A question that does arise to me, though, yet again, with this seasonal, lots of questions, isn't there? But I do think it's going to be important to ask whether this was created by Wubox or not. Seeing as though all of the Wublins were created by Wubox, it's going to be quite interesting to see whether this monster is a change to that fact or if it is still a creation of Wubox. I think it would personally be very cool to me if it wasn't a creation of Wubox, just to differentiate itself from all of the Wublins, and perhaps for us to get a bit of lore behind specifically the storm, as if it's been there for quite a while or something like that on Wublin Island. When it comes toward the event time, when this seasonal comes toward Wublin Island, we could get some really cool lore on that, I do think, which really does excite me so much. Definitely inside of the update bio, when they mentioned before in the last update that the next couple of seasonals are going to be very lore based, you can already see this shining through with this seasonal, as it looks like it's going to be absolutely crazy. If this thing is to encapsulate the storm inside of its design somehow, or just somehow the storm being some kind of effect inside of its animation, maybe when it's playing its sound, the storm can make it sound and contribute somehow. Just the idea of incorporating lightning into a monster's animation is going to be really epic if they manage to pull that off. I don't know whether they go that far into it, but if they did, oh my god, that would look so cool putting them particles in there. I really hope hope that they do get really creative with this one, as if it is associated with the storm, there's a lot that they could do with the electricity-based element of it, and I really do hope that they take it to the full extent with this one. The Wublins and Wubogs are pretty profound in being really well animated and having excellent designs, so I'm really excited for that aspect behind this monster. And yes, I could totally see this one having a colossal sigil. Get it in there somewhere, monster handlers. I feel like this just kind of has to have a colossal sigil at this point, as I can see the colossals probably having a lot to do with the storm. For its sound, I think it's going to be a percussion-based monster. Everyone in the comments wants those drums, and if we're getting drums, guys, a Wublin Island seasonal is where it's at. I'm calling it. We've got a storm going on here. I mean, come on, what speaks drums more than a storm? I think it's going to deliver a beat this seasonal, definitely, seeing as though it's associated with the storm. It has to deliver that beat that we really need inside of the Shanty, this one, I do think. But if this doesn't happen right now, I don't see it fitting another event quite as well as what it would with this one. The seasonal Shanty is in desperate need of a bit more rhythm, I do think, and I think everyone is right inside of the comments about the drums, so hopefully we do get some drums with this wonderful seasonal that we're going to get tomorrow. I think it's going to be very electricity based, its design too, seeing as though it's very associated to the storm. I think that would be a very natural conclusion to make, and I do think that this will end up playing hopefully throughout the majority of the song, as we need those drums literally through probably the entire song, to be honest. Especially, I think we do need some percussion inside of Fiddle's verse at the moment. It needs a lot more Fiddle's verse, and seeing as though we only have 4 monsters left now, including this one, I do think that it is the time for us to just incorporate all of the monsters that we can inside of Fiddle's verse. And I also think it would be a really cool chance to finally fit something into the verse where the castle doesn't play. That's very bare bones. When the castle goes off in that section, it really does show how much the castle contributes to the song. So we definitely need something there to counteract that at the moment, as it literally feels like the song kind of halts for a moment. And that ain't good, so we need that right in there, I do say. I think there's a lot to be excited for with the new seasonal that is going to be coming tomorrow, and I do think that it's going to be well worth the wait. So I am super excited for tomorrow, guys. Anyway though, guys, let me know what you think about the new seasonal down below, and how you think it is going to relate to Wublin Island, as it certainly does appear to be. As I'm super interested to hear what you guys think about it, as it does appear to be quite questionable, I do think, as towards how it could link to it in the first place. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe down below too, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow though for now. Bye, guys.